Welcome to Guns and Gear Network, everyone. I wanted to bring you this video this afternoon. If you've been following the channel, you will know I did a video recently about bows, and I think the importance of having a bow in your kit for your prepping and survival needs. And I talked about in that video how cheap you can find archery equipment, make your own, all that. The Indians did it for many years, and with just basic hand tools or knives, and they would fashion bows and arrows, and obviously use arrowheads made from flinting and rocks. And so with modern things available to us, it's actually even easier. But it can be done. So when you get your bow, you'll want to set it up, and that's one of the things that I wanted to do to mine, and have it work for me and my methods of the way I hunt or anything like that. And so I got to one of the things that I like to have is a quiver to be able to hold my arrows. And there's all kinds of quivers. You got over the back, on the waist, like on a belt style, the ones that mount to the bow. Over the years, I've preferred the ones that mount to a bow. It's just easier when you're stalking or anything like that as far as hunting application. I just like having them handy right there. And like my compound bows and stuff, usually I'll have a store-bought style quiver, and they're pretty expensive. And this recent bow I got, it was just a bow and a string, nothing else. And I've ordered a few little things, and one of the things I was looking at is a way to I decided I wanted to try something new as far as a quiver, and I got to researching, like a lot of people do. That's how I learned some of my knowledge, researching on the internet, YouTube, about different methods and different ways and different types of quivers. And I came across a few videos of people making a quiver that mounts to your bow on the limbs, and they were making them out of flip-flop material or flip-flops. And I try not repeating videos, and when I will repeat a video that's possibly already done is when I've made an improvement, or I've expanded on what they've already talked about. I can expand on that if I can show an improvement. So that's what I'll do, and in this video is no different. So I got to looking at it and realized it's a good idea. So it has some limitations based on what the material you're using. The flip-flop itself, obviously because of the size, it limits how big you can make the quiver to hold so many arrows. So I got to thinking about it and exactly what flip-flop material was made of, and I said there's got to be other things like that. And I got to remembering earlier in this gardening season, we went and bought some of these from the Dollar Tree. Now this one's been used, it's been cut because I've already done this project, and I'm just going to kind of show you how I did it and materials I used and so forth, because it's real simple, guys. I could sit here and do a how-to video, but it's pretty simple, as simple as this is, really. But anyway, this right here, I went to Dollar Tree, and sure enough they had more of them, and it's nice and thick, and it's rigid, and it doesn't flex a whole lot. It's a little more rigid and thick than a flip-flop material, but it's basically the same type of material. So anyway, here's what it looks like in the packaging. It was wrapped in plastic, and this was in there in the packaging with it. So you got this. So I went and bought that, and then I got to looking at the design, and I got to playing with different designs, trying to figure out a way to be able to mount 5 arrows. That was my goal. And so I got to playing with it, and I got on my computer, and I went to paint, and I played around until I got this design. So once I got it figured out, as far as the style and the general shape I thought it should be. I had to play with this a little while as far as actual drawing and then figuring out the exact size. So I would shrink it up, blow it up, shrink it back down, trying to figure out the exact size. And I come up with this one. And this is my template that I started with. And what you'll do is you'll print this out. You go to the Dollar Tree, buy you one of these. Will make will make two limb quivers. Then you'll take this, print it out on your computer, or if you want to design your own, you could. But like I said, I did mine in paint because it's basically straight lines and arches and stuff. It's all right there on paint, real easy to do. So what you have here, these right here represent holes. These right here represent the slits that you'll cut, and I just used this as a guideline so it would make sure my holes and everything were lined up straight across there. This right here is the slit that would actually go over your limb, and I'll show you all that in a minute once I'll put it together for you. So anyway, that's what all these little lines represent. This right here is the whole total outline of what the piece looks like when it's done. So you'll print this out, and then what I did is I went and luckily I ate pizza tonight, so I had some cardboard from a cardboard pizza box, and I cut out something a little thicker that was easier to work with, and decided if this was the size, I was able to lay it with the bow and say, okay, this looks about the right size, and then I can make any adjustments off of this before I really got into cutting my material. And then once I laid this on top of the cardboard, and I actually cut this out first and then laid that on the cardboard and then traced it all out, and then I took my pen and I poked it through the paper so it would punch into here where I would know where the holes were. So then once you do this, you will lay this on this. And then guys, if you can't hold this for some reason, I put some tape across here just to hold it straight so you don't get any, it don't slide on you or anything. Then I just used a ballpoint pen and I traced around it. And then I took my ballpoint pen and I pushed down through here and kind of twisted my pen around so it would leave a mark where I knew the holes needed to be. So then it would be on here. And then how I cut this, and you can use different things, but what I recommend is a electric kitchen knife. So if you have an electric kitchen knife, it'll go through this and you can keep it fairly even and all that, and it goes through it really well. If not, a very sharp serrated knife gives you a chance to cut through it instead of trying to pull a sharp blade through it. This gives you a sawing motion. So that's the motion you want to get. It's kind of a sawing motion to get more of an even cut and so forth. So you'll once you get it cut out, and I've got one here that was a mistake that when I was messing with it, if you look, you can see, maybe you can pick that up in the camera, where the holes were supposed to be that I didn't do, because this right here, I wound up trying to clip the corners and trying to mess with it, the design a little bit to fine tune it to see how I would like it. And if you notice here, there's like an edge where the ink is and it's not straight. What I did was I took sandpaper and I just sanded over this and kind of cleaned up any edges and got them even as best I could. I'm kind of a perfectionist. So anyway, I did all that, and then what I did is I took hole punch, and mine are not the plier style. Mine is the actual individual punches, and I determined which size I would use based on the smallest arrow I would use. So because this stuff, I'll show you when I put it together, that so you figure out the smallest diameter of arrow you would use, and you would make sure it's at least a little bit smaller than that. So I found my punches and I punched out my holes, and then once I punched them out, I took a pen and I made a line from here to here at the angle I wanted it to be at. So I started here where this one's straight up and down, this one here at a little bit of an angle, this one, and so it kind of followed it around like that. And then I took my electric knife, or you could use a serrated knife, and I started it right here at the mark and sawed straight down to where it was already, the hole was punched out. Same thing here, I punched 2 holes here on either end, figured out the width. So you want to figure out on your bow, if you look here, kind of what this widest point is right here. And what you'll do is when you make that slit in this section, you'll need, in this section here, you'll need to make sure that is smaller than the width you measured on your limb of your bow. So once I did all that, I'll show you what it looks like complete. And these are very tactical. Ta-da! So, if you notice, they're not bright green anymore, they're OD green, and I took some OD green paint and sprayed them with a few coats of paint, and I may wind up camouflaging these like my bow, but for now I'm okay with them being this way. But this is what it's going to look like if you see the holes that are punched out. You could drill these holes, but those punches work much better. And then I made smaller holes here, and the reason you make smaller holes here that are a little bit bigger than your slit width is because when this right here goes down, that hole actually gives it durability right here, because instead of having a straight slit where it could potentially keep tearing, that hole stops that, believe it or not. So that's what they look like, and if you look, they match up fairly well. And I'll show you guys how these things work. So you will take your bow, and if I am right-handed, so you'll hold the bow in your left hand, you'll draw with your right hand. So what you're going to do is they're going to sit right here, and I'll show you how to do that. You'll start at the top here with obviously the string off of it, and you'll make sure that the rounded portion is away from your hand, because you want the arrows over here on this side away to not get in your way when you're over here making and knocking your arrow on your string and shooting. It does not get in the way. So in other words, the round piece will face towards your draw hand. So again, you start at the top of the limb and you start to feed it on, and you just work it on down till you get down to right there. Same thing, you make sure it's facing the right way on the bottom here. You work it all the way up the limb, and that's what it's going to look like that. And I'm going to put my arrows in here and show you what that looks like. So I'll show you another little trick with this. If you noticed, it actually, because they're flat on the bottom, it actually makes a great bow rest. So you can lay your bow down. It actually keeps it off the ground, and you keep your bow protected from any moisture, dirt, anything like that when you set it on the ground, and it rests on these. See, all this is on here, it's not touching. So I've got a couple different sizes of and different representations of arrows, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when you put them in. So I can get this in camera. Alright, so you can either slide them into the slot or just stick your point in. And I'm trying to do this one-handed, guys. And you just push it in like that, and then on this end where you made those slots, you will push that in just like that. So I'll put all 5 of them in and show you what it looks like. Put that in there, work that in there, slide it in, work it in like that. Alright, so there you go. That's what it's going to look like. I'll give you an idea. I go points up. You could go points down. I prefer points up, but that's up to you. And that's what it's going to look like. And it works really well. They're silent. Obviously, it's not going to make any noise. They're very quiet, and they hold your arrows really good and snug. And I think it made a difference in that bow setup. So now it's kind of a grab and go. I can have everything set up like I want it, just like that, and be able to go. Now that's about as cheap and as tactical as you can make a recurve or traditional bow. So anyway, guys, I wanted to share this video with you. If here's what I want to do. I'm going to kind of do it this way. If you will like our video, give us a thumbs up. Second, I'd really like for you to share it if possible. If not, at least give us the thumbs up. And once you give us the thumbs up, submit an email to me at gunsandgearnetwork@gmail.com. That's guns, GUNSAND, gear, GEAR, at network at gmail.com. Guns and Gear Network at gmail.com. Send me a request and say I gave you a thumbs up. Make sure you put your YouTube username and that you're requesting the template, and I'll send you a file so you can print one of these out yourself and go to Dollar Tree and make your own. And like I said, it's a fun little project. It won't take you near as long as it did me, because it took me about 30 minutes on the computer playing around with the design and kind of drawing it all out. But yeah, make sure if you want one, send me a request through the email, and I'll be glad to send you out a file, and you can share that with other people, and we can make your own. If you make your own, make sure you send us some information of do a video. You know, kind of get involved if you want to do a video, or at least send me some pictures and say, here's how mine turned out. I would like to say it's a pretty fun project, cheap and easy, and I always like a common man's approach of budget items, and this right here is pretty good. I like this setup here. So anyway, guys, as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe, and if you have any comments or anything, post those below, and we'll talk about that. If you have any knowledge about anything, a project you've done similar to this, post that up, talk about it. And anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll be bringing you another video in the near future, and have a great day.